Metallic Rouge is without a doubt Studio Bones' biggest flop to date, and it's really not that hard to see why. Their previous works like My Hero Academia, Bungo Stray Dogs, and Mob Psycho 100 are all amazing shows with huge followings. But Metallic Rouge had all the makings of another banger from Bones. So what went wrong? I think we can all agree that this show had a lot of potential. The world was super interesting, the animation and art style were fantastic, and the initial premise was exciting. It seemed like a classic Bones action anime with some sci-fi elements thrown in, but it ended up being something completely different. But what made people the most angry was the plot, or rather, the lack thereof. From the very first episode, we are just thrown into this world with no explanation whatsoever. Who are these characters? Why do they have mechanical arms and legs? What is this place? What is happening? We are given absolutely no exposition. And while this might be a cool stylistic choice for some shows, it just left viewers more confused than immersed. And that's coming from someone who loves when shows do this. I'm a huge fan of Samurai Jack, Gurren Lagann, and Cowboy Bebop. But even I was lost most of the time. If you're going to throw me into a world that's unfamiliar and make me question everything I thought I knew, I need to be intrigued enough to want to figure it out. Otherwise, I'm just going to get annoyed and move on to something else. And unfortunately, that's exactly what happened here. Another issue was Rouge and Naomi, who easily become the worst duo I've ever seen. Now, I understand that they were trying to go for an odd couple type dynamic, but the chemistry between them was so bad that it just took me out of the story every time they were on screen together. They have literally zero charisma as a duo, and their interactions felt so forced and unnatural. I think part of the reason for this is that they gave them both really generic personalities. Like, look at Naomi. He's literally just your typical hot-headed tsundere, and there's nothing really that makes him stand out, or even remotely interesting. And Rouge is basically just a female version of Light Yagami from Death Note. Yeah, she's a bit more ditzy and clumsy, but they share the same personality, the same interests, and even the same hair color. And since both characters are essentially just clones of other popular characters, they don't really have any room to grow or change throughout the story, and their relationship doesn't evolve either because there isn't really a story to begin with. So yeah, definitely one of the worst duos I've ever seen. And then there's the fights. Oh god, the fights are atrocious. For a Bones anime, this is completely unacceptable. The fight choreography is sloppy, the editing is sloppy, the pacing is sloppy. Everything about the action scenes is just so poorly executed. There's no tension, there's no excitement, and there's certainly no style. And that's really saying something considering that Bones is known for their amazing fight scenes. But even the fights that take place in their other shows aren't nearly this bad. This is embarrassing. Now, I could go on and on about all the things that this show did wrong, but I think you get the point. It's clear that this show had so much potential, but it just didn't live up to it at all. The plot, or lack thereof, the characters, the world, all of it was just so poorly executed that it's hard to believe that this was made by the same studio that brought us MHA and Bungo Stray Dogs. It almost feels like they just phoned it in, which is really disappointing because I know they can do so much better than this. But the most frustrating thing about all of this is that it could have been so much more. Imagine if Bones had put the same amount of effort into this show that they put into MHA or Bungo. We would have gotten an amazing story with incredible animation and fight choreography. It would have been a banger. But sadly, we will never know. And the worst part about all of this is that even Japan didn't care. The show was canceled after only one cour despite having a pretty decent ending. That's how you know it bombed hard. The fans didn't care, and even the studio behind it didn't care. So yeah, Metallic Rouge is without a doubt Studio Bones' biggest flop, and it's really not that hard to see why. But do you agree? Is Metallic Rouge the worst show from Bones? Or do you think it's another studio that gets more hate than they deserve? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. If you want to see more videos like this, then consider subscribing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.